Listen up, Gotham. This is Batman. Tune into the Bat Fanatic podcast with Sammy Warmhands.
Hey everybody, it's the Dark Knight of Rap, Sammy Warmhands, and this is the Bat Fanatic podcast. That's right, it's another Bat Fanatic Friday. We've got Grumps and Gramps and Dunk all here together doing a video episode where we hang out and chat. So go over to YouTube, make sure you can see our faces because there actually is another auto subscribe thing that shows up with no faces. But yeah, make sure you can see the video. And I want to shout out our new sponsor, Nerdcrawler, who is now Raremark. That's with a Q, Raremark with a Q. And they are your home for sketches, original art, straight from the artist, like Art Germ, Frank Cho, and many more. And you can get a free account and a discount using our code BATFAN for $10 off your first order of $100 or more. That's good through the end of this year. So shout out to Raremark with a Q, and the legacy of Nerdcrawler evolves. So today, Grumps is here fresh off of the Lilo and Stitch movie, and we're going to be talking about cartoons. This was a Dave suggestion. I think last time was the Gramps suggestion. We're going to talk about our top 5 and, of course, honorable mentions. Childhood cartoons. And we did not talk about parameters once again. I wanted to leave it open. I got a couple of movies.
What's your definition
of TV
child?
shows? So I'm 39 now, and right. So, you know, we're going to leave it a little open-ended, whatever you guys want to bring to the table, and just have fun with it. But, Dave, what was your thought process behind, this was an idea I want to bring forth to the guys?
Well, I was pretty much just thinking, you know, we went through movies, we watched movies, we go through all these comic books and everything. And I don't feel like anyone ever talks about their favorite cartoons growing up. We do get like the, you know, who doesn't love a Batman animated series or whatever anime people talk about. But then no one really talks about like the cartoons that shaped us, right? That like help us become who we are and had this fandom. But I drove myself nuts over thinking what belongs where. I think five was a horrible number. I should have did like 10. But no. 5 it is.
I mean, it used to be like Saturday morning cartoons was like all that I lived for as a kid, right? I mean, you know, you had your bowl of cereal or your Pop-Tarts or whatever you ate. And
straight up sugar and milk.
Yeah, I ate both of those things today.
Sat in front of your TV for hours while mom and dad did whatever. And
I also did that today.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I love this topic, so thanks, Dunk. This is going to be fun.
So I do want to, I made a little mention of it, but Grumps, you've got to be more tapped in with like the modern animation because you're taking your kid to the movies, right?
No.
No?
No.
Yesterday was the anomaly?
It's so different now than when we were kids. You know, now there's YouTube.
Oh yeah,
kids and there's streaming services, and not every kid is watching the same thing. You know?
That's true.
I mean,
that's true.
So you know, when we were younger, me and Gramps in particular, like there was 5 channels, and pretty much
that was
everybody was watching the same thing. You know, basically.
You better catch it until you don't.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up. I didn't have cable growing up, so you had just ABC, NBC, CBS, public access TV.
Yeah,
and that newcomer, Fox.
And then we had Fox, and then there was this channel that would come in, kind of, sorta, if the weather condition was right, and it was out of a different city that we'll get into that, but it had some cooler programming.
That's so open to like what we were all thinking about.
Yeah, I don't think that's where you're going with this, but I definitely, you know, have the childhood memories that a lot of us have from, you know, this era of the, like, you know, you don't get Cinemax, but if you go to the channel, it might get the like pixelated, staticky, and I'm like, oh, I think that was a tit.
Awesome.
You had to like rotate the dial just
Oh
right.
man.
Yeah.
And when your
Everybody
parents
was
come in the
doing the
room, you
same
got
thing.
you got the remote, so like you can hit the last channel button, so you don't have to like punch in a number. You get last channels set to Nickelodeon or somewhere or MTV. So like, oh yeah, I was just in the middle of this rerun of the Carol Burnett show. I don't know, but before we start, I just wanted to mention a comic really quick because, as you guys know, I love the Absolute editions, and I got this Death of the Family one a little bit ago, and Death of the Family, and
Nice.
what I was really impressed with when I read it today, because I've been reading a lot of different things, and I was like, I got this a few months back. I need to actually crack it open and enjoy it, and they included the Tony Daniel prelude that explains the Joker and Dollmaker and the face cutting off and all that shit, which is not in the regular trade. And when we reviewed it on this show with myself and Ben and Evan, we were like, okay, it looks awesome, but like, what the fuck is going on? Because we went straight from Court of Owls right into this, like, from Batman 12 to Batman 13. What the fuck is going on here? Like, none of this makes sense. And so I love that they put in one issue from Detective that kind of like fills in the gap in this Absolute edition that should have been there all along, if you ask me.
So that was pre-New 52, right?
No, it was it would be volume 3 of New 52. It was Court of Owls, City of Owls or something, and then Death of the Family.
No. The story, the Tony Daniel story. Because
he was on Detective at that time, so he was writing and illustrating, to the best of my memory, the beginning of that Detective run when they rebooted.
Okay. Well, very cool.
Yeah.
But you can comment if I'm full of shit. I'm pretty sure that's right.
No, you're right.
Okay.
You're right.
So anyway, I just thought that was cool. If anybody else read that story and thought, why the fuck don't they have that? So if you like the oversized hardcovers, the Absolute does have it, so you can feel good about
Why
buying
don't they
that.
have useful information in that?
I know. A
Now,
little bit of context.
Dang it, now you're going to make me spend money that I
People
don't
might
need.
actually be able to make sense of this.
Dude, I love these Absolutes, man. It's the best way to see this artwork.
Yeah.
And I've said the same thing over and over again. I want to do a whole episode where we talk about our favorite formats to read, but they just dropped the 0 year Absolute, and I'm hoping they do Endgame, and I don't really care about after that, but I want to buy those. I've got Owls, Death of the Family, and I want to get 0 and Endgame, because to me, those, like...
Were the stories.
Yeah, those are just epic, man. So good. Such a good run.
If they ever put out a like artist edition of Capullo's run, just the Court of Owls by itself, I mean, oh my gosh, dude. I mean,
what's very cool is that because this is a short trade, I think it's like 13 through 17 issues was Death of the Family. There's a lot of not just variants, but pencil pages in the back of this, like more than you're used to seeing, to kind of get it up to a justifiable page count to charge you $100.
Right. No, I mean, and I've got over here on my shelf some of the unwrapped versions, which is very cool because it's the pencil work without the ink. But I don't know if you've ever seen any of like the artist editions. Like
I saw yours. Yeah.
Yeah,
you
they're
showed
huge.
me. It's
I mean,
crazy.
it's life size of the pages that the artist drawn, and I would love to see that. But yes,
I was trying to find my tape measure. I don't know. I know those are 11 by 17. I don't know how big this is, but it's somewhere in between.
Yeah, it's good.
I think it's about. Well, my bookshelves are 15 inches, which was made with these in mind. So yeah, I think it's probably 14 and a half, something like that.
They're still good enough size that the artwork just pops off the page and it's real easy to read, but still easy to transport. Versus these artist editions, they're just too big to be walking around.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
insane.
Yeah.
All right, so just wanted to get that out of the way because I read that today and I was excited. But I'm going to lead with the man who started this off. We're going to do our top 5 again, bottom up. So the spotlight is on you, sir.
Oh man! All right, my number 5. Every cartoon variation of Transformers. Why Transformers? Because I grew up. They had Transformers. They had Transformers Beast Wars, which I was heavily addicted to on the WB. Was it still called the WB? Probably.
UPN.
Yeah, they had so many names. And then they did a 3D Transformers. And I remember I used to watch Transformers before I went to like grammar school. And I'll sit there with my 3D glasses with like this 12-inch screen TV. There was no 3D happening.
No.
But I was in it before class started. And I remember just watching that. I'm like, all right, I got to watch my episode. And then it was like 7:30. Then I'll run over across the street and go to school. And why I think Transformers, why I put it at number 5, I started rewatching all the Transformers recently. So it just a little hit of that nostalgia again of how I felt when I first saw the first Transformer movie that came out. Was it like 2005 or whatever? So that's why I had him there. That movie just is a pinnacle in my upbringing, especially right before school most days.
Who is your
totally.
favorite Transformer?
That's tough. Everyone, which one though? They said I'd pick Beast Wars or regular Transformers.
I feel like I'm watching Clerks 2 right now.
Well, you got to have your favorite character.
My favorite was always Optimus. As much as like I needed to like, focus on everyone else. When I was a kid, it was Optimus. He was a man. Kicks ass.
I always loved
Six names.
What was his name? Soundwave, that Decepticon.
Soundwave.
He was the music box player, and out of his chest would pop out the tapes that you would unfold
Turn into a dog.
Yeah, and it was this last weekend was one of my buddy's 30th birthday, and they had just gone to a wedding where they said it was the craziest wedding that they'd ever been to. But at this wedding party reception, this dude came out literally like on stilts, like he was dressed up in like this Transformer cosplay, and he was like grinding and dancing and all this stuff, and he was part of the event. And I was sitting there and we were talking about it. What a genius idea it would be if you could be like Soundwave, the Transformer guy, but you're the wedding DJ and you're running the show
like, beep, beep, beep,
with,
beep, beep.
yeah, on Blu-ray.
Oh, yeah, like you'd want to walk around with that for 3 hours.
Man.
If it pays well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they said that, I mean, this guy, it was funny because they said that the bride is the one that booked this guy, but she originally tried to book this other guy, but he couldn't do it, so he referred to. So apparently, there's this huge wedding robot business that people will go out and do this stuff. And they showed me photos of this, and I was like,
"More of you?
That is amazing!"
But to save money because I don't need stilts.
Yeah, you don't even need stilts. You could be your own Transformer.
That's funny.
That's what you need to cosplay as.
It's not a bad idea.
All right, Gramps, let's keep going around. What do you got at your number 5?
All right, well, number 5, like I said, I lived for Saturday mornings with my 2 brothers, and
with your black and white television and Fleischer
exactly.
on. Sorry,
we didn't have cartoons. We listened to radio,
AM radio. You had a Victrola, one-piece turntable.
Oh my God, I had a Victrola.
There you go.
But the one cartoon that I remember every morning that we had to watch, and this was in my early formative years as a young kid, and it probably is the reason why I'm even here on this show today is Super Friends. Yeah, Hall of Justice. So, yeah, went with good old Super Friends.
I can't say that I ever watched that one that much. I mean, I maybe did. I know when I was real young, I watched Batman 66 and, just kind of whatever we had. But I feel like after Burton and, you know, everything that followed. I don't know that I ever went back.
It was like one of the longest running Saturday, what I'll call the Saturday morning cartoon series. I think it went from like, it started in the 70s and it went all the way up to like maybe the earlier mid 80s.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Right, they used to show reruns on Cartoon Network.
Mm-hmm.
Now catch it there.
Yeah.
Solid.
All right, super friends. Grumps, what you got for number 5?
Of course, Hot Shot.
What are you doing, Dennis Hopper?
Yeah, Speed.
Nice. That was my first rated R movie in the theater.
Of course, Hot Shot. Goodness, I don't know. Give me a second.
It's not easy.
No, it's not. I'll go Super Friends at number 5. Yeah, I wouldn't leave that off my list. Because I got some bangers up top. So I'll go Super Friends at number 5.
Okay, he's playing it
And
mysterious.
there was a couple of iterations, right? Like, there was Super Friends. I think it ended with Superpowers in the mid-'80s.
Yeah.
But I think there was like 3 or 4 iterations of it from the 70s to the mid-'80s.
I think also at one point, Adam West voiced Batman too.
Yeah.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. He
That's
might
cool.
have done the voice of Batman on Scooby-Doo as well when, you know, they would have those team-ups.
That's funny. I
think
like
I remember
Scooby-Doo.
those.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess I'll round out the number 5 spot. This is going to be a basic ass answer, but you can't deny if you were around in the late 80s, the early 90s, the biggest show around was The Simpsons. My God, like The Simpsons was a fucking landmark, right? And the reason that I bring it up on this show is because I remember clear as day, like nowadays we'll have sort of a water cooler show. Like, let's rewind a little bit, like Breaking Bad, right? When Breaking Bad was on and the season finale or whatever, everyone's talking about it at work the next day, you know?
Yeah.
And sure, everything's now a little more diversified with streaming. It's harder to catch. But, you know, if something new drops that everyone's anticipating, everybody's talking about it online, right? The Simpsons was the first time I witnessed that in my life. I'm not talking The Sopranos or any of that shit. I'm talking about The Simpsons. Literally, when Who Shot Mr. Burns, Part 1 came out, my second grade cafeteria, we are all arguing about this at the lunch table. Like, I can still quote these episodes without having seen them for 10, 20 years probably, and I love it to death. And it was such a cultural phenomenon at that time, on par with some of these massive institutions we think of. And it's one of those shows that I can still revisit and really, really enjoy. I think it still really holds up beyond nostalgia, and again, still so quotable. Like, I don't need to say anymore.
What I remember the most is both my parents were teachers, right? And you know, that show was a massive hit with kids of our age, in our, you know, at that age. And I remember my mom be like, I don't know how many kids are saying cowabunga now.
Yep.
Yeah.
She hated that.
Yep. Slingshots and skateboards, man. And that, like, I remember that arcade game was fucking everywhere. Like, it was at the the ice cream parlor downtown. It was at the arcade, Fifth Street Public Market. Like, I would play that game anywhere I could. You know, the merch everywhere. Like, used to have Garfield hanging in the back of people's cars. Then it was Bart Simpson.
Yeah.
Like, he was just everywhere. And then you had Bartman. Like, I got a sketch of Bartman on the wall.
Yeah.
I still have I still have the tiny little Bartman figure I had from back then. Like, you know, it was just massive, massive moment, and I think it still really holds up. And God, it's still on. And
Still going,
regardless
dude.
of what you want to say about like, no good after whatever season, or like, dude, put it on. Like, it's still impressive that after that many fucking years, they're still going, and I still laugh. Like, what do you want?
Yeah.
Come on,
So good.
give them their flowers, dude. It's crazy.
That's a solid number 5. Jesus.
Yeah, that's number 5. So
These lists are going to get dangerous.
I know, man. So Dave, you're up. Number 4. Let's keep it going.
All right. Number 4 is a monster for me. I went with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
That was my Saturday morning cartoon.
Speaking of
and-
Cowabunga.
Yeah, it was like once that theme song went on, you just like you just losing your mind, dude. You're hyped up on sugar, and you're like, "Oh yeah, man, what the hell could happen this week?" That was just one of. I want to put it up. I want to put it higher on my list. I could have been easily a number 2, but I'm not a huge Ninja Turtles guy. But it had his moment in my life.
See, again, in that time period, like late
Huge.
80s, we've got Turtles, we've got Simpsons, we got Batman 89, like just so many amazing things happening. And like, you know, Turtles was everywhere. I had the Turtles pajamas and the sleeping bag and the sheets and pillowcase and the fucking, you know, like everything you could imagine in my bedroom was Ninja Turtles. And I already on the top 5 comic book movies talked about my love for the 1990 film. And the reason I didn't put this on my list is because I haven't seen the cartoon since then. I haven't seen the cartoon since I was a little kid. The movie stuck with me more than the show because I don't know if there was even a way to watch the show after those first few years, you know? Like once it went off, I don't know, but it kind of faded in the past for me. Did you guys watch the Turtles?
No.
No.
You guys were already in your mid-40s?
I was never much of a turtle guy.
Yeah, I don't know. For some reason, that just didn't stick with me either. I always thought it was just very silly. I was like,
What
Turtles?
channel were they on for you guys? Because I think for me it was like you needed was it TBS or TNT? It wasn't like a basic channel one for me.
I thought it was a Saturday morning cartoon. I swear it was.
It's considered a
network
Saturday
show.
morning, but it was like
I don't know.
it was another channel.
Huh. Yeah, I thought it was a network show, at least here on the West Coast. I don't know. But yeah, that's a really good one, man. Gramps, what do you got at number 4?
All right, for number 4, this was a show that I would actually this was more of like a early morning before school show.
Oh. You watch the news before you go to school?
No,
I did.
Schoolhouse Rock?
you know, I think elementary school started later in the day than the regular school, so you had time to, you know, catch a couple of morning cartoons, and before you had to, you know, catch the bus or walk to school or whatever. And G.I. Joe was my go-to show in the morning. I
almost made a joke about it earlier when he was talking Transformers, and I was like, no, I'm going to wait in case somebody brings it up.
No, G.I. Joe, man. I mean, that was...
Sergeant Slaughter is my guy.
That's the jam.
That was definitely a before school show. 'Cause I remember watching it a few times. It was kind of like hand in hand with Transformers.
I always thought it was funny how they didn't use bullets; they used like lasers that they shot at each other, and no one ever died. They would shoot a plane down, but they would crash and they'd get out of the plane. I was like, oh, okay.
Just training us for military age, man. Like, see, everything's fine.
Everybody lives.
Let's
Just
quick
blue
sand.
and red lasers.
Yeah. And Grumps and I are in agreement that Destro was not an Irishman, you know, based on the voice actor. So it was kind of, you know, a little confusing whenever we saw the live action film. We're like, that's not Destro, man. There's no way. That guy can't be an Irishman.
Oh, yeah, I forgot they made that into a real movie.
Yeah, it sucked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did they make more than one of those?
Yeah, and they even like made like origin movies of.
Oh my god!
There's a few of them out there.
Yeah, they're terrible. Terrible.
See, my lasting memory of G.I. Joe's is from a dark period, that prepubescent time where all of my GI Joes were getting tied to bottle rockets or melted down or something. I went through my Sid from Toy Story phase in the 5th grade, and all those got just annihilated.
I mean, next to Star Wars, I probably had as equal GI Joe collection of those original figures.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
I mean,
I had quite a few.
I had so many of them, and I love the fact that they're making them again. Hasbro is cranking them out, and
Nice.
Yeah, I love them.
Money.
I love them. Love them.
All right, Grumps, what do you got for number 4?
Same thing.
Oh, you copied him again.
Yeah.
I tell you, man, we are just like this.
Pointing the wrong way. I just want you to know that.
No, point at him.
On
my screen.
Okay, well, on my screen, you're pointing off the screen to no one, so I don't know. Maybe.
No.
That's all right. It goes around the world and back.
Right, there you go.
Yeah, G.I. Joe, man. I mean, gosh. The cartoon was everything when I was a kid. And the toys.
The tanks.
Dude, yeah, the vehicles.
Dude. Okay.
Like, a fond memory of elementary school was meeting up with the other kids in the playground, and whoever got the newest G.I. Joe thing would have the booklet of all the stuff that was coming out, and, we'd be huddled together looking at everything.
Did you guys ever, trade?
Yeah,
trade
people
figures?
traded,
Yeah, if I had, this guy and you had
My
that
mom's
guy,
stingy.
we would trade and, sometimes even trade back after a week or so. I just wanted, because, those things, for a kid to get your parents to buy you every figure, there's no way they would do it. So you kind of traded with your buddies to
play with it.
Just to play with
Right.
it. And I remember this one kid got that aircraft carrier.
Oh,
God.
He's like,
yeah.
party at my house. Everybody come over. We're having a big G.I. Joe party. So it was crazy.
I can just see the box for that in my head, like taking up the whole shelf at Toys R Us,
Yeah.
Massive.
Simpler times.
All right, so my number 4, I'm going to go a little bit different here, and
Strawberry
I'm going to go
shortcake.
a little bit later, okay? A little bit later. So this
Rainbow Bright.
this
Back to
came
school
out
bus.
when I was in the 7th grade, and as a follow-up to my number 5 pick, it's undeniable to my middle school era how much I loved and my friends loved Family Guy.
Family Guy.
I have to. I know it's a little late. It's not quite the era we're talking about, but dude, I remember taping the first couple episodes and telling my friends, like, you have to come over and watch this. This is fucking insane. And I remember my best friend Crosby comes over, and we're sitting like right in front of the TV. We're sitting right in front of the TV on my little brother's like tiny little foam dinosaur furniture that we don't fit on. And we're sitting there watching this, and we're eating popcorn. And it's the episode where they run into the satellite with their car and the cable goes out, right? And the news anchors, they realize that no one's watching. And I will forever remember this moment where Tom Tucker goes, well, I guess it doesn't really matter what we say. I'm the Lord Jesus Christ. I think I'll go get drunk and beat up some midgets. How about you, Diane? And she goes, well, Tom, I just plain don't like black people. And they're like, and then the producer shouts, guys, we're still on in Boston. And at that particular joke, Crosby starts laughing so hard that he chokes on his popcorn, and he throws up over this dinosaur furniture that we're laying on, and we have to stop the tape and clean up because he was laughing so hard that he choked. And I will always remember that moment. And like, how can you deny a show like that, even if it was from, the 7th grade? So Family Guy is my number 4.
They took some chances on that. They still do.
Yes.
There was a point in my life where I was obsessed with the Stewie movie. Like I just found that hilarious.
Yeah, I had that on DVD. I forgot all about that.
Yeah.
It's like a Stewie and Brian adventure, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I also had all the Star Wars movies they made where they redid like scene for scene the original trilogy. That was fucking dude. I had those DVDs. I used to watch them all the time.
That's solid. My favorite. I remember just watching it. It was was it Pat Tuckett Brewery?
Pawtucket.
Yeah.
Patriot. Whatever.
And then he got the golden ticket and like rammed his knee to the mailbox and just went for like 3 minutes. I was like, I messed with this.
I mean, so many like those early running gags, like the chicken fight, or I don't know. There was so many, but there's some again. Like I can probably quote just entire scenes from The Simpsons or Family Guy from that era that's just stuck with me and definitely defined, my sense of humor.
It explains a lot. Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, you just went back to back on like the two top ones. We're just missing another.
I'm going with comedies, man. Like I don't know. Anyway, Dave, you got number 3 kicking it off.
Oh man! All right, number 3 is younger me, but the impact this had. Just go with the show. The show's Captain Planet.
I forgot about that,
dude. So the thing about Captain Planet was that's pretty catchy. That's a theme song.
Gonna take pollution down to zero.
Like I was ready. I remember my father used to walk me to my babysitter's house like 4 blocks away, and I had a habit of grabbing a bag and just like putting trash in it.
Oh yeah,
on my way to my babysitter's.
He got you thinking.
Yeah, because you got to do what's right. You got to keep this planet clean, right, guys?
Dude, I remember that came out, and the same time they had this like PSA, and we had to sing a song in school that was like recycle, recycle, recycle now. And it was like there's a whole thing in that era, man.
Yeah, then we all learned about like what the numbers are and the recycling logo, but now it's just recycle anything.
Did you have the ring from the cartoon, like the Captain Planet ring?
Yes, of course.
Yes.
I have one still around. I found it the other day.
That's awesome.
Which I only think about Captain Planet so much because I saw in San Diego I saw a Captain Planet cosplay.
Yeah, I've seen that a couple
you and I got to
times.
get a picture.
Right.
That's fire. And there's always that ongoing that comedy skit. I forgot who plays it, but there's a gentleman who plays Captain Planet and it's freaking hysterical. But randomly, that song just in my head. So number 3.
Yeah, made its mark on you for sure.
Yeah.
All right, Gramps, number 3, bring it.
Okay, well, this is a show that actually only had 1 season.
Oh.
And it's kind of a deep cut. If you know, you know, but it's one of my favorites still. I actually, I think last Dallas Fan Expo, there's a guy that has a booth and all he sells is like bootleg DVDs of, the shows that we're talking about from the 80s that, were never, put out on official volumes, like the Spider-Man 77 series. But this is a show that I love so much, and actually, Super 7 recently started issuing collectible figures of it, and I'm so excited. And it is Silverhawks, which Silverhawks was a spin-off, or actually developed by the same studio and production team that did Thundercats. And actually, some of those same voice actors were on Silverhawks. And
I'm looking at it right now. I don't recognize this.
Yeah, the Silverhawks, they were basically like half man, half machine, kind of cyborg robots, and they could fly in space, and they fought this gangster called Monstar and his list of rogues. And it's a pretty cool show. I loved it.
1 season, 1986, Rankin and Bass. Interesting. So it's a major show, but I wonder how much it went in syndication, by the time, because I would have been 1 in 86. So, interesting. Missed that one.
Yeah, I like that show. That was a great show.
All right, Grumps bringing it home on number 3.
Number 3, I got a classic. This is where it gets tough for you guys.
Yeah.
You guys are going to be struggling right now. Woody Woodpecker, my number 3.
Ooh.
That
Yeah.
is a classic, old
Man.
school cartoon.
Fuck. Yeah, now I'm... Oh, you just brought me back to a whole era I wasn't even thinking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait till we get to the honorable mentions, dude.
I've been
For
adding...
my top three, I put it against anybody.
Dude, I've been adding to my honorable mentions this whole time. Like...
Yeah.
Yeah, if you guys mentioned it, I'm not going to mention it. I'm on.
All right. Fuck. No, that's not what I'm thinking of. This is what I'm thinking of. Yeah. Cool. All right. So, number 3 for me, I'm going to close off the comedy trifecta here with, you already know, Beavis and Butthead. I have, like, no joke, to this day, I watch the show every day. I watch it when I eat breakfast because it's like 8 or 9 minutes long.
Stories.
Yeah. I post it all the time.
It's
'cause, like,
solid.
I watch it when I eat breakfast. It still cracks me up. Like recently, I went all the way back to the beginning, and I'm currently on the latest reboot. Like I watched that much of it, just every fucking episode. It still cracks me up like none other. And it was a show that when it came out, I wasn't allowed to watch, and so my mom had this little tiny like 10-inch screen in her bedroom that she would watch Oprah or whatever while she's folding laundry, and I would watch Beavis and Butthead with the door closed and hope not to get caught because I couldn't watch it in the living room, you know. And I remember when the movie came out, Do America, my dad, you know, I wasn't allowed to watch it at home, but like my dad came by and he took me for the weekend and I got to watch it with him. And so, you know, it's definitely one that has embedded memories in me. And also when I watch it, it's just like, I hate to admit it, but in many ways, I actually relate to these idiots quite a bit. So, you know, it's gotta be in my top 5. As much as I wanted to put more like, you know, kids shows in here, like, dude, Simpsons, Family Guy, Beavis and Butthead, like, come on.
That's a strong list, though.
Now,
I love all those shows.
now,
And it's
So
funny
good.
that you mentioned that. I just added Beavis and Butthead to my watch list
On
because
Paramount?
I want to start watching it again.
Yeah, the first year or two are pretty rough, but I think from like 93, 94 on, it's really pretty solid.
now, did you see when was it Ryan Gosling and the other comedian guy
On SNL? Yeah, that was good.
So good.
That was good.
They're like, what?
Actually, until just the other day, my profile picture on my main social media page, my personal pages, I was, because I had blue hair that matched this blue shirt I had that was Cornholio, and on it, he's wearing his blue Metallica shirt and these gray shorts. And I have a pair of gray shorts, and so like there are times where I'd be wearing the exact clothes he's wearing while wearing that shirt of him on it. And I even rapped about it a long time ago, like probably 2014, something like that. I made a joke that's like, I'm an adult, but I dress like Beavis. You know, like I just, you know, it just, yeah, it's me. It is.
It's also like one of like the illest like Big L bars. Ask Beavis, I get nothing but head.
Butthead. Yeah.
So good.
Good callback. Yeah, that's a good one. All right, so number 2, we're getting into the tough stuff here. Dave, bring it.
My number 2. Again, this is out there.
You said number 2.
My number 2. This is out there. Animaniacs.
Yeah.
Animaniacs was right in line.
Paul Dini.
After school, you have. There's so much to that show, which it was weird when I went back to look at it because it was like, oh, Animaniacs, Pinky and the Brain. I'm like, no, sorry, guys. You guys were all on the same thing. I'm not separating this because I love everything about that show.
Right.
It was fun. It was, again, another fun tune to listen to right before the show starts. There's so much to that show, especially with other catchy songs, like when they actually taught you stuff, like all the states or all the countries, and they made songs out of all these things.
Yeah.
It was just something that, again, it was huge going from my grammar school. Yeah, it was grammar school when this was out. It was like 93 to like 98. So during that time period, it was like just part of my learning process and just enjoying mindless television that actually taught you something, which was weird. And you had a good time singing the damn tune. And then they had a game.
It's just a great era for animation in general.
Yeah. Then they had a game on Super Nintendo.
Those shows just look awesome.
Yeah, that was WB. WB knew what they were doing at that time.
I think that's why it hurts me deep inside when I have to like criticize Warner Brothers as an adult, because like from my whole life, so many of my favorite things that I've watched start with that fucking WB, and I'm always like, yes. And then with all their like studio meddling and stuff, I'm like, God damn it, Warner! And like, you know, and it feels wrong. It feels wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talking about like just changing sides or losing momentum.
Yeah. Gramps, what do you got for number deuce?
Okay, for my number 2,
Okay.
piggybacking on the Silverhawks, the Thundercats. I love the Thundercats. I always,
If that wasn't on your guys' list, I would have lost my mind.
dude. You know, I'm not a big fantasy genre, fan. You got He-Man and the Masters of the Universe.
That's exactly what I think of when I think of Thundercats.
But Thundercats kind of added a little bit more of the science fiction side of it to me. And plus, the talking and fighting cats, but also, the villains. Mumra scared me to death as a kid. I was like, dude, this guy is evil, so evil, so scary. I love him. And you got the Thunder Tank, you've got their big castle, you've got Panthro, who's like a ninja, and then Tiger was my favorite guy. Basically, Thundercats were like my Ninja Turtles. And
totally.
That was my gang of, are they human? Are they animals? What are they? But it just works. And it's a weird concept, but it just works. And, you've got elements of mythology and with the Sword of Omens and all this stuff. And it's just a mixed bag of everything that I like and into one show. So yeah, Thundercats.
Nice.
I remember going to the Dominican Republic, and it was always playing that and Johnny Quest.
Yeah,
was always on TV.
That was a
So
good
I used to sit down and like have dinner with my grandparents and just watch Thundercats and Johnny Quest right after that, or before. Who knew? It was the same thing on TV.
You want to talk about a theme song, man?
Yeah.
Killer Trail.
Wait, I can't hear the Thundercats theme song in my head right now.
Feel the magic.
Thundercats are on move.
Thundercats.
That's a great show.
Man, I'm gonna have to look that up after this,
dude.
You're not gonna go to sleep, homie. You're gonna just listen to.
You're gonna forget about your
theme song after theme song.
Yeah,
I'll record a cover song. Actually, a friend of mine, Taylor Morden, he's a film director now, but he years and years ago covered all of these TV theme songs and made a whole album of just that. I'm gonna have I'll have to dig it out. It was a pretty cool project. Grumps, what do you got at number 2?
This is a strong one. Could have been number 1. Bugs Bunny.
Bugs Bunny.
Oh, yeah.
Bugs Bunny.
Yeah. I mean, Looney Tunes is on my list for sure.
I don't know. I picked Bugs Bunny, but I probably could have done Looney Tunes, because you can't be without Daffy Duck and those people. But
or like Wile and Roadrunner. My God, like my elementary school mascot was the Roadrunner, and so like we even had like T-shirts with them on it. Copyright infringement, I'm sure, but
Bugs Bunny is my guy.
Yeah, Looney Tunes.
I remember
Bugs Bunny had me eating a shit ton of carrots. Just to be like, "What's up, Doc?"
Yeah.
Right.
It was so iconic.
Oh my God, so good.
I was trying to remember who Oh yeah, it was. I think it was Bruce Timm said that Harley Quinn has a lot of Bugs Bunny in her DNA, and
Really?
You can
Wow.
see that in the cartoon.
Yeah,
yes, yeah,
I guess. Yeah.
Wow.
yeah,
Well,
and so sometimes when I'm reading her and something seems like really silly, and she's doing this bizarre, you know, flip and a quip and whatever, I'm like, what? Oh right, okay, yep. Like I keep that in the back of my head. I'm like, oh right, right. This is not
are
a
they
Batman.
streaming Looney Tunes anywhere?
You would think HBO Max would have the rights to all that
Yeah,
shit,
you would think, but
but I don't know. Because I
I'll look
mean,
that up.
when they launched that, they touted that they have like every DC title ever, and then when Discovery took over, they gradually just like whittled it down,
yeah.
took a bunch of them off. So I don't know, but all right, my number two I have talked about on the show on our MegaCon episode last year
The Smurfs.
because I met Don Bluth and he signed my VHS copy of The Land Before Time. And this is not a series, it's a film, but that was probably my first favorite movie. It's the first movie that my parents ever bought me, you know, like new from the store and that I had on my own and not just like recorded from TV. And that movie still moves me when I watch it to this day. Like just the emotional parent stuff is just brutal and the animation is so beautiful. Like Don Bluth had worked on like, you know, The Rescuers and he would go on to do American Tail and so many of these other things. But like that one in particular was just a seminal moment for me, and way before Jurassic Park, you know, cemented my love for dinosaurs and those type of adventures. And you know, honestly, it's just like a classic road trip movie, but in this other universe. And like to this day, I still have the Littlefoot stuffed animal like on my bookshelf in my bedroom that I had back in the 80s. Yeah, that's a big one for me, Land Before Time.
Nice.
I remember was it the first movie where I think they were giving out like fake tattoos if you went to go see it.
Oh, like the press-ons?
Yeah. And again, great movie. But remember, I put on my first press on tattoo. My mom wasn't having that. She
We
pressed
will
on.
wash that off.
Whap, whap.
Like Superman.
Pretty much.
But yeah, that spawned a bunch of sequels that had nothing to do with the original creators and turned them all into a bunch of bright colored singing and dancing bullshit musicals. And it's kind of a weird legacy that they left behind. But that first one is what I'm talking about, and that one is a classic. So I would like to ask, before we go into number one question, and all I need is a yes or no. Do we all have the same number one?
No, you won't have my
No.
number one.
We don't.
No.
I know you and I probably do.
All right.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, me and Dave, then you want to go together?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna give you on the count of three.
Cool.
We'll go 1, 2, 3, and then we'll say it. Okay.
Cool.
All right. 1, 2, 3. Batman the animated series.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
That
There's
was
nothing better.
for us. That was again. That's like show started what 92.
92.
So we're in grammar school, and once there's also some parts had it Saturday night, Saturday morning as well.
Yeah.
I just recall leaving school, running to my babysitter's place, dropping my backpack, and not doing homework till the show was over, or doing as much homework as possible to watch the show, and then
Right.
then go
I
back to
remember
doing homework.
sitting there again, like on my mom's bed, eating fruit snacks and watching this show. And I still have, I'm looking at it right now, the magazine advertising to Fox Kids that the show is coming out. I'll grab it right now. If Dave, you want to take it for a second.
I mean, yeah, that time period. Well, Fox did a hell of a job of cartoons because like they had a Fox Kids segment,
Yeah.
and they had most of the Saturday morning cartoons were also on Fox. So Fox was Fox was giving the kids what they wanted.
Absolutely.
Not
so check
anymore.
this out. This says autumn 1992 on it right there.
Oh, wow.
Fox KLSR, that was my
Wow.
local affiliate, and it's just a black and white Bruce Timm drawing
Jesus.
showing off some of the characters that were coming.
It's pretty sick.
And yeah, it was a really, really exciting time. And you know, that show we all know gave us Kevin Conroy and so many others, you know, Ephraim Zimbalist, Alfred is iconic, Lauren Lester, Dick Grayson, iconic, you know, the list goes on. And yeah, have to be my number one, no question.
Yeah, it's
So-
one of those things where like you see a Batman animated series logo, you're like, what's that? I need it.
Right.
Yeah.
Just like the cape pull, you know, that,
Yeah.
just, and they didn't even put his name on the title card. It just shows him in the lightning bolt and
all you
everyone knows
need.
what it is.
Yeah.
You know, like, again, that coming out the same year as Batman Returns and all like steeped in the vibes with the Elfman intro and the like Art Deco Gotham City style, like everything about the Elfman, Burton, Tim, Dini, Burnett universe is just also connected to me. And that time is just
Yeah,
unparalleled.
it was perfect timing.
This is going to come as a shock to you guys, but
You've never seen it?
no, it's not that I never saw it. I didn't, when it first came out, I didn't really get to watch it as regularly as, you know, a lot of you guys. It was where it was shown in my, you know, my hometown. It was a after school, you know, TV show that was usually on around 3:30 or 4.
Yeah.
And,
Same here.
you know, at the time it was coming out, I was getting into, you know, high school
Check.
athletics. So
Yeah.
I wasn't getting home until like 7 p.m. And
Yeah,
so I didn't really get to watch it as regularly. You know, there were a couple times where I could catch an episode or two, but it wasn't until much later that I actually got to see it. And I'll be honest, I haven't seen the whole series as well. I own it,
yeah.
but I haven't never
Yeah.
sat down and watched the entire thing.
I thought I knew you. That's okay. Well,
I,
second thoughts about doing this show.
Well, you're the one that wants to watch Superman all day, so
Well, apparently you're
Shots
not
fired.
even that big of a Batman guy, so I don't know.
yeah, I'm in a similar boat to Gramps. Like I was 18 already when it came out and working.
Yeah.
So I would catch it, you know, at odd times and stuff.
No streaming services.
So without the sentimental attachment, though, I mean,
Oh,
You got-
absolutely. I mean, still, no, I was still, you know, into it and everything. But yeah, I just, you know, reruns and stuff for me, you know,
for sure.
and the toys, the figures, I was, you know,
Yeah,
into that.
Yeah.
I will say, of all the shows that we've talked about, it's probably the one that still holds up the best to this day.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you can pop it in at any age and you'll be, you know, you'll appreciate it. You'll be like, wow, this is entertaining. Versus like, you know,
Yeah.
when Sammy's favorite number one show, The Smurfs, pops on, you'll be like, yeah, this is getting a little dated, but you know,
See, and that's what it's one of the things I kept in mind when I made my list of not only things that I loved back then, but things that have endured and stuck with me and I still enjoy now, you know. So it's something that feels a little more timeless, you know. So with that said, you guys still got your number one picks to drop. So
Yeah.
Gramps.
my number one. All right. So as a kid growing up, I was really into robots. And, you know, we've already talked about, you know, Transformers. And I kind of lump my number one into just the robot genre because, I mean, you had Voltron and Transformers and everything at that time was a robot
Yeah.
transforming into something, you know? But my number one was this series called Robotech. And
What?
yeah, it's this anime from Japan. And it's basically the story is where this huge spaceship comes to Earth and crashes into Earth. And it has this alien technology that.
Are you sure this isn't Alf?
No. I loved Alf too.
Alf, the animated series.
But, humans realized, going through this spaceship that there's an alien life form, and these aliens are like 10 times taller than humans. So they learn from the technology and they develop basically a resistance technology to fight these aliens when they come. And it basically looks like, I'll show you right now. They basically look like an F-16 fighter jet that transforms into a robot fighter.
Yeah, that's a cool one.
And so yeah, it's a really awesome series. Now, it hasn't really aged well as far as like the plot and the acting and stuff, but the fighting sequences are really awesome. And the technology, it was a little bit ahead of its time as far as like some of the just the design of the fighting mecha, robots and stuff like that. But yep, that's my number one. So
all right, Grumps, bring it on home.
I'm gonna crush you guys right now. All of you going down right now. A classic, Tom and Jerry.
Tom and Jerry.
Fuck. Yeah.
Tom and Jerry.
Look at
So
this.
violent
Look at
that
this.
they had to take it off.
The schedule.
Regular
The
TV.
schedule. It has Merry Melodies, Tom and Jerry,
And
Batman
Tiny Toons.
animated series, right there.
There you go. Oh, that's Tom and Jerry Kids. I mean the original.
Oh, right. I didn't
Tom
look
and
at it
Jerry.
that well. Sorry.
The one that they took off TV because it was so violent.
Itchy and scratchy.
Yeah, the original
Yes.
Itchy and Scratchy. Oh man, I
That is a
just
solid
loved that
one.
as a kid. Oh God. And I think when I got to be a teenager, that's when I don't know, they were like, it's too violent. I think it was on TBS and syndication or something. It's too violent. They were beating each other with frying pans and
Yeah.
shotguns.
There was
and
That's still
whatever.
funny.
There was mad domestic
Yeah.
violence.
Oh my God. All of those cartoons, Bugs Bunny too. What do you
This magazine is crazy. It's got so many of the shows we were already talking about.
I mean, I think we all, said some great, animated or cartoon shows.
Yeah. I want to.
These are the ones that I have the fondest memory of, like from elementary school age.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's why I, mentioned them. But
I want to talk about the movie that dominated my elementary school years as we go into honorable mentions, and that is The Lion King, the original. I mean, that was massive. It had the Super Nintendo game. It had the all-star cast.
And no one could beat.
Dude, it was so good. It was so big. And like around the same time, it wasn't that big necessarily, but a Goofy movie. Holy shit.
Oh, I was thinking that earlier.
That was a banger too. And the soundtrack with Powerline, like that was a really good one. What do you guys got on your honorable mentions?
See, we mentioned Looney Tunes, so I crossed that one off. But I have
Looney
X-Men.
Tunes, Tiny Tunes.
I have X-Men, Saturday morning cartoons.
Absolutely. That was tough not to put in my top
Yeah,
5.
that goes along with Spider-Man, watching Saturday morning cartoons.
I think
That's
that's
X-Men
what I was going to say.
X-Men is really good, but when you go back and watch it, it doesn't hold up as well. Like there's a lot of exposition for children, and like it just feels like they kind of gotta hand feed it to you, and like just I don't know. Maybe it's just because they have so many characters on a big team story, but like the Batman stuff feels like they treat the audience like with a little more respect, maybe, and it makes it hold up better as an adult.
It is tough with X-Men because, again, there are so many main characters. Like there's main characters, but X-Men is everyone, so it's hard to cover Like everyone has like their own episode. Then another one I brought up, I bought Pokemon because it's crazy
Yeah,
that it's big right now. Like
It's
I
so
remember
funny to me that you and I are so close in age, but that's just like
you
not.
missed Pokemon. Homie.
Yeah, I
Good
just.
for you.
Thank God I dodged that bullet.
'Cause my mom threw away the cards anyways. It doesn't even matter that I liked it when I was younger.
It's only my friends who are considerably younger than me and you, and we're like the same. It's so weird.
And I have Dragon Ball Z. I started watching Dragon Ball Z. I only watched the original Dragon Ball Z, not the original. It was dubbed. But I only watched like the first couple of seasons. After that, you never know. You never go back to where you were the last time. So it's like now that I'm older, I want to rewatch everything in order because I have no idea how the order was. I just know I don't know where Goku's fucking yelling for like 3 episodes. And then he finally does a thing and then he misses and then he's yelling for another 3 episodes. So I gotta rewatch Dragon Ball Z and see how I feel about that. But my last 2, have you guys heard of Biker Mice from Mars?
No.
I heard about
Yeah,
it.
what's
is
his
it?
name?
Biker Mice from Mars.
Biker Mice from Mars. Okay.
Yeah, they just released a fig set.
Toys.
And I was like, damn, I want it so bad because when that came out, they had a racing video game, and my boys and I, my 2 close boys, Anthony and Jay, we bought bikes, and I was learning how to ride a bike because I suck. But because of the Biker Mice from Mars, I wanted to learn how to ride a bike even more because I wanted to be cool with my 2 other homies and we could ride around the block. Right, Mom? I rode around the block.
I can just picture a little like
Little big
9-year-old Dave. He's like 6 feet tall. He's got to ride an adult-sized bike.
Straight up on a mountain bike, dude. Yeah. And then the last one I have, which is way out of anything that you guys probably ever thought that would come out of my mouth, Sailor Moon.
Yeah, you're losing me on some of these.
Yeah, I watched some Sailor Moon, dude.
Oh, you could edit that out.
That one, I don't know what it was. I don't know if I had like 30 more minutes before I had to go to stand in line because I lived in the same block as my grammar school, so I didn't have to go early, jump on a bus, any of that. I just stayed there until it was time to stand in line. By the time I walked downstairs, boom. So I just stayed watching TV, and I think that was like the last show before I went upstairs. But I spoke about it. I got friend zoned a lot, and that's my life.
There you go. Yeah, I also lived right across street from my school, but I still, even then, did not do well in the mornings. So it was always a challenge to get out the door. I had no extra time for anything.
Yeah.
Gramps, what do you have? Oh, that's mean. I don't know if you guys have been following this, but
I have.
we've been fighting over Gramps' little subtitle on the screen. That one is just a low blow. Got a front putt. Come on, you motherfucker.
Oh,
Jesus Christ, you fucker.
the whole show. You guys have been going at it.
Okay. Anyway, yeah, you know what? Fuck you. Grumps, what do you have for honorable mentions? We're going to skip the Texan.
I'm just going to throw out a couple if you don't mind.
Yeah, bring it.
Chili Willy, Popeye.
Yes.
Couple of, Popeye was the great
Yes.
one. Couple of, Gramps mentioned a couple. Thundercats and Silverhawks I absolutely love. Spider-Man and Amazing Friends was great. Yeah, I think that's about it. I'm probably leaving something out. Transformers. I was into that in the 80s. Scooby-Doo. Yeah, Scooby-Doo.
Lots of
That's a
Scooby-Doo.
classic.
Lots of Scooby-Doo.
Lots of
Classic.
Scooby-Doo. Yeah.
I love when they keep on bringing it back and like different variations and different shows. It's like,
It's funny.
yeah.
I remember the big controversy over Mindy Kaling's reboot Velma on HBO a few years back.
Oh, yeah.
And everyone was like, this is the worst show I've ever seen. And it had like the lowest IMDb rating. I couldn't believe it. It was like it was like a 1 or something. I was like, oh my God, I got to watch this just to see, is it like hilariously bad or something? And I watched it and I was like, this just seems normal to me. I don't get it. I think people were just so wanting to see the same old version of the character that God
just
forbid you do something different. And they're like, fuck you, you ruined my childhood. I'm like, calm down, guys. It's just a fucking cartoon. It's fine.
Well,
I was gonna throw Mighty Mouse in there too. That was
Oh, yeah.
older.
Ooh,
Man,
Sorry, Gramps.
solid.
man,
That's a good one. I just
that
bought a Mighty Mouse issue 1 a couple of months
Oh, you
ago.
Oh, wow.
did?
Yeah,
Wow.
there's those
that's
things you never know what you find bin diving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
wow. That's cool. I had a Darkwing Duck.
I have that too. Darkwing was
Okay.
Darkwing Duck and DuckTales I put next to each other.
That was about the
People love
yeah.
DuckTales.
boom, 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 boom.
That was
boom,
about the
boom,
tail
boom,
end
boom.
of my duck
The theme
tail
music,
end of
dude.
my afternoon watching cartoon days. But I always loved
Yeah.
Darkwing Duck because it was so Batman-esque. And then
Yeah.
Batman
It's
the
Batman
Animated
adjacent.
Series started in what 92. After
Yeah.
that, and I kind of missed that, but yeah, I always liked me some Darkwing Duck. You had He-Man. He-Man, I could kind of
Oh yeah, yeah.
give or take.
I had the figures.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I had a few of the figures, but I mean, it was just
I probably played He-Man more than I watched He-Man, you know?
right. Voltron was another good one.
Yeah, Voltron.
That was a solid watch.
Gramps, did you watch G-Force?
I did not.
Which is Gotcha Man, basically. Is
No.
But when I was a kid, it was G-Force.
I never saw that.
Yeah.
No. That's all I
All
got.
right. I'm going to drop a few more here that we haven't talked about. Ghostbusters. Beetlejuice.
It's not they were cartoons.
Inspector Gadget.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
go
There you
get
go.
your
Okay.
arm.
Okay. A couple like Nickelodeon 90s shows.
Yeah.
Doug.
Yeah, Doug.
Rocco's Modern Life. Daria.
Sorry, I know.
And the last one, I'm sure none of you have probably heard of it. It was a compilation show that MTV was running in the later 90s that was more adult animation. This was like prior to
I think I know that.
Adult Swim. None of this shit kind of existed, but it was real dark, fucked up, weird, funny shit. And it was called Cartoon Sushi. And it was just a grab bag of different animators. And the shorts could be 30 seconds or they could be 10 minutes. They were all over the place, but they're super funny and they're pretty much non-existent online. Like I had recorded some of it on VHS tapes and it is just gone. There's precious few clips on YouTube and a lot of them are not like my favorite episodes or anything. So it's just, a lot of that stuff's just missing. But Cartoon Sushi, me and my friends used to laugh our asses off watching that show. It was probably the same MTV era as like Eon Flux. Or, I think they would run Heavy Metal around that same time. But yeah, there was like a late night MTV animation hour.
Now, I don't know if this qualifies as a cartoon, but I thought for sure you were going to list South Park in your list there.
Kayla, if you're watching this, turn it off. I like South Park, but I never had Comedy Central when that was airing.
Gotcha.
Like I remember going to my friend Ben's house and watching the first episode with the alien butt probe and all that stuff. Like I remember seeing that for the first time, but it was always my friends who had that channel and I never did. And so it was one that I liked whenever it was on, but I am a bigger fan of like their movies, like Basketball.
Yeah.
The South Park movie, Team America,
Oh my gosh.
or whatever. But I never really followed the show more than just like on occasion if I saw it. So I couldn't tell you like that I've seen a full season even of that show. It's just kind of like, usually it's somebody going, oh my God, you haven't watched the fucking, South Park Solves, whatever. Like you have to watch So I've seen quite a few over the years, but it's not one that I've like religiously watched.
I just don't get that humor. It's completely lost on me. I find it funny. Like,
I just restarted from season 1 because I'm like,
Yeah.
I haven't seen this in forever. I'm on
I don't
season
get it.
6 right now, episode 17. But it helps for like just background noise.
Yeah. Well, maybe when I finish Beavis and Butthead, because again, I'm near the end of the most recent reboot. So once I get through that, maybe I'll give it a visit because
Do that
it's
too. Beavis
been
and
a
Butthead.
long time, and I'm sure I haven't seen most of it because it's been on a long time. But again, I really liked the movie. Just haven't seen too much of the show.
All right. Well, I think those were some awesome picks, and it was kind of fun to go back and remember. Just when I was putting my list together, I was like, "Oh my gosh!" That kind of just brought some cool memories of, getting up and getting your breakfast made real quick, and then getting to watch the Saturday morning cartoons, and then, just like what Grump said, it was always those classics. It was like they had a sequence there. It always started with the classics, like the Looney Tunes, and then it got into the more modern stuff.
The newer stuff.
Yeah. Fun.
They did a good job. Well, a great job pre-cell phones, right? Because you had that moment and you had nothing else. Now we're fortunate enough to have streaming services and cell phones and everything we need in the palm of our hands almost immediately. But back then, we really enjoyed those cartoons because we didn't want to do our homework.
That's like the one thing that's on. So
yeah. You don't want to
it's that or Sally Jesse.
Or run errands.
Dude, I was gonna say, man, if you got up too early, that before the cartoons started on Saturdays was brutal.
That was rough, dude.
The televangelists or whatever.
Yeah, televangelists or the news hour or whatever.
Yeah, now it's like if I wake up early, I go to the gym and come back, and then it's like I'm watching. Like, all right, we're gonna follow this tiger around, and I'm like, I'm not. What happened to the cartoons? I want to watch this damn tiger right now.
Yeah.
Or the fucking Batman show would run episodes that were 2-parters out of order. And so it'd be like, they started, I think one of the first episodes was The Cat and the Claw, part 1. And then part 2 didn't come out for like 2 weeks or something. Wait, what happened?
We just have to figure it out.
Dude, and X-Men was the king of the to be continued. Like, all their episodes are 2 and 3 parts, man.
Yeah, and then it's like in the last episode, and it was like, hey, this wasn't the last episode I just finished watching.
Right.
Why are you showing me this one?
Previously, yeah. All right. Well, that is our show. Thank you guys for watching or listening. Again, we do these Bat Fanatic Friday shows on YouTube as just kind of a unscripted hangout that's not so much of a deep dive through the story. And we're going to keep dropping these as time goes on in between our reviews. Again, shout out to Raremark, our sponsor on this season. And I just wanted to tell you, we are back to Gramps' favorite on the next episode. We have a special guest coming on, Red Sun Collectibles, to talk about Superman Returns, which was the 2000s era sequel to Superman 2. So stay tuned for that. We will return.
Like Superman.
And Batman.